Hello, this is Mike Morton with Keysight Technologies. Welcome to part 2 of my video series, How to Transport Transportable Licenses. As you recall in the first video, we did the drag and drop method, which was for when the source and target machines had LAN connectivity on the network and also internet access. In this video, we're going to be focusing on the offline method, and we realize when there are times in your labs where you may not have internet access, but you still want to do the transport. So this video will show you how to perform the offline method when you don't have internet in your lab. We will also be discussing banking. Banking is when you have a source that you no longer want the license on, but have not identified a target for it to go to. And so it's more of a kind of a savings account. It happens to be your Keysight Software Manager account, your profile on our website. You can basically remove the license from that source and then store it on your Keysight Software Manager account till some time in the future when a target system comes into play and you want to then place that existing license on that target. So we'll be showing you how to do that as well. So you might remember this from the first video. This basically is what happens when you do the drag and drop method. I just wanted to show you this so that you can kind of internalize what's going to occur for the offline method. As you recall, you have a source and a target, and if that source and target has access to the internet and is running Keysight License Manager, you can do the drag and drop. Basically, you remove it from the source. Keysight License Manager reads the target's host ID, takes it to the web service where it cuts a new license file and puts it down back into License Manager and then installs it on the target. All of that happened in the first video series during my demo there. So what's different when you do this with offline method? So here's a pictorial view of transporting these licenses using the offline method. We still have the source system. That source system, of course, can be a PC, it could be an instrument, it could be an instrument with a PC inside it. You still need to connect to the Keysight License Manager, either through LAN. Of course, in an offline method, one of the most common ways to accomplish that is maybe with a crossover cable and using IP subnetting in order to connect to it. Or the instrument or machine is Windows, chances are you have Keysight License Manager running right on it. So it doesn't necessarily need LAN if the machine has License Manager already installed on it. Basically what happens is Keysight License Manager, you'll basically click on it, you'll say transport, and it won't have anything to transport it to, so it'll give you a choice, and it will eventually create what's called a URL file. Now, that URL file is important because that's what you will take. You'll need to copy that URL file out to like some kind of media, whether that media is a USB thumb drive or it's a USB DVD drive or a CD drive. I've even seen people use a USB 3.5-inch floppy disk drive. Whatever it takes, that URL file is small, it's in the kilobytes. And so you basically copy that URL file out to some media and then take it to a computer that does have internet access. And what you'll do in this middle step here is basically double click on that URL file where you'll be talking directly with the Keysight Transport License web service directly. And knowing what the host ID of the target system, you'll need to know that ahead of time when you're doing this step over here. You will then enter the new host ID for the target machine, and it will cut you then a license file. And then that license file is another small file. It's in the kilobyte size. It's a text file. You can view it in Notepad even. And you take that license file to the target system where you install it using the Keysight License Manager again. Of course, Keysight License Manager can be right in the unit, or if it's a unit that doesn't have it, you'll need like a crossover cable or something to get a computer talking to it.
Okay, we're here with my PXA Signal Analyzer, where you'll recall from the first video we did, we had transported my licenses from my computer to this PXA Signal Analyzer, and this is where the licenses are still living. So I'm armed here with my USB memory stick. I'm going to go ahead and put that into the USB port at this point. And then let me shut down the VSA software, seems how we're going to be pulling the license from it.
So now we're zoomed in on the display of the PXA Signal Analyzer. And what I'll need to do is pull up the Keysight License Manager. And there are various ways to do that, but in order to keep it consistent with everything, on the analyzers, if you just hover down and then you might have to click a little bit, you'll pull up the taskbar, the Windows taskbar. And if you go to Start, All Programs, Keysight License Manager. Now, if your software is older than about August of 2014, it might be called Agilent License Manager. If so, go ahead and use that. It should work. So choosing Keysight License Manager, it opens up the program, and we have here my 4 licenses that I'm going to offline transport these. So to transport these, basically it's similar to the drag and drop. You'll just click the license you want to start with, and I'm going to now right click and then select the transport selection. Now when it does that, it pulls up a dialog box that says the source host is the local host, which is true, it's on the local host, but the destination host is offline. And that's what we'd want to choose, offline. This is the offline method. So we'll choose transport. It basically says that the following transport license has been deleted from the specified host, and that it's created this URL file named this file, and it's been saved to this path. Okay? We can then click on that button and it'll go right to that path. And here's the URL file that we need to keep track of. I'm going to go ahead and do that for 3 more here. We'll do that to the 300. And we'll do it to the AYA. And we'll open them up. Let's do the 4th one as well. Okay, so we now have the 4 URL files. What we'll do then is copy them over. I'll highlight all 4 of them and say copy. And I'll go to my USB thumb drive. And I have a folder here I've already named URLs. We'll drop them in here. Okay, they're all in the USB thumb drive at this point.
Okay, and then finally we'll go ahead and pull out the USB stick.
Okay, we're back here on my regular desk computer, which has internet access, and I have inserted the USB memory stick into my USB port, so I will open up Windows Explorer at this point and go to my thumb drive, URLs directory. That's where we said stored those URL files. And what I'll do is double click on the first one, and it will take me to the Keysight Software Manager Transport Service. Okay, so on this page, you have 2 choices. You can transport them to another instrument or PC, or you can save the license to Keysight Software Manager, KSM. That's the equivalent of banking the license. So I'm going to be transferring to an PXA Signal Analyzer that sits in our Denver office, and I know its host ID. You can find its host ID by using the Keysight License Notifier. Basically, in any machine, you can go to the running taskbar, and this is it here. If you hover over the little lock, the license service for this PC is PC Cerno, YS, or you can double click it. It basically opens up License Manager. So if you did that on your target machine, you'd be able to fill out this form right here. So you would need to know this ahead of time. Like I said earlier in the video, you'd have to know the host ID ahead of time. by doing some of these steps. And for me, this is N9020A MY 532880193. Okay, so I've entered the host ID, no spaces after the comma, and I'll hit continue. And it's just basically bringing a confirmation box saying this license will be transported to host ID, and it gives you a second chance to make sure you type the host ID correctly. After it's done, it'll be available for download, or you can also have it emailed to you. So why don't I do that too? I'll submit it. Okay, your new license was successfully generated. I can, at this point, click here to download my license file. Why don't I go ahead and do that? I'll go ahead and save it right back to my thumb drive. This time I'll put it in a licenses directory on there. I'll hit save. And then we can do it again for the next one. Hit continue. This is for the 300 license. I'll go ahead and download this. Do the next one. This is going to be the AYA. Hit submit. Go ahead and download it. And there they are. Okay. The last one, I'm going to bank it. This is the BHF license. So in this case, instead of doing the assign it to another host PC, I'm going to go ahead and store it to my Keysight Software Manager profile. So I hit continue on that. It will then say confirm that. This license will be saved to KSM for later use. Submit. And that's it. As you can see in my email, I'm already starting to get license files, just like what I had saved. Okay, so out of my 4 licenses, I only have 3 of them here. It's because the 4th one I had banked. And so it is being held in my Keysight Software Manager's profile for future use. So what I'll do is go ahead and redeem that back so that we can put all 4 licenses on the target machine. So in my email, what should have come, the last email that came is a confirmation KSM license saved for BHF for that order number. Recently, and it basically says recently the license purchased on was saved to the Keysight Software Manager website. This license is now available to be assigned to a new host at a future time. When you're ready to assign it, you go ahead and go to this website. So let me click on that. And then it'll be asking me to log into my KSM account profile. Okay, so now I'm in my account profile, and I can view my license summary. It should show up in my license summary. So as I go through here, I actually have one available of a few things, but I have two available of my BHF. And so if I expand that out, I can see that this one here is unassigned. So at this point, I can go ahead and just click on assign this license to more hosts. And it's kind of like redeeming the license for the first time. You choose what you want to move. You do have to enter a host. Luckily, it actually remembers the MXA that I was attempting to, that I'm sending it to. If it didn't show up there, you could say add a new host and then type it in. And once you've checked that and you've entered the host ID for the target, go ahead and hit assign licenses. It will then bring up a confirmation page. It says license notifier host ID N9020 for the BHF custom OFTM. Hit continue. This screen is basically saying it's assigned, or this license to that host. Do you want to assign more licenses? Because I still have licenses available. I'll say no. I'll assign these at a later time. Hit continue. And this time it only emails it to you. It does not give you a link, a download link. So my email is already in here. I'll request the license. And it basically says it's been successfully submitted, and it's being sent to my email address. Okay, look at there, it's already there. So now if I go back to my email, here's the license file. If I open it in Notepad, it is for the custom OFDM, so that's my BHF. What I'll do is I'll go ahead and put that into my licensing folder on my USB memory stick. And so now I have all four of them out. 3 of them got transported directly. The 4th one went to banking and then redeemed from banking. So now in the Denver office, I have this MXA. This is MXA with that host ID that we offline transported all 4 licenses to. I've installed the USB stick, and in there, here are my 4 license files. So what I'll do is open up Keysight License Manager on it. Notice it connects to localhost initially and shows what it has. And to install these 4 licenses, we're going to go File, Install, point to the licenses directory on the thumb drive, and then open all 4. And there they are. They're showing up under localhost. So to summarize all the steps we did in this video, it's useful to go back to the pictorial view. On my analyzer in my office, the PXA, we ran the Keysight License Manager right on the system and transported off all 4 VSA licenses. And they essentially turned into URL files, which we saved onto the USB memory stick. We then unplugged that USB memory stick and plugged it into my desktop computer where I had internet service, and double-clicked on the URLs. While in the transport web service, we assigned them to the target system's host ID within that web page. At each end of the steps within that page, it outputted license files, which then we re-returned back to the USB memory stick. We then took that memory stick and put it in the PXA Signal Analyzers in Denver, and using its internal Keysight License Manager running right on the target system, we did a file install, pointed to the files stored on the memory stick and installed the licenses. For more information on transporting licenses, you can go to the Keysight License Manager online help. If you open up the license management tab, there is a transporting licenses topic. Alternatively, if you need to download and install License Manager, such as if you had to install this, needed it on a PC, you can download it at this URL. Finally, there's also more information on transporting licenses in your product's documentation. Thanks for watching.